Welcome back to Thriving in Ambiguity, the podcast where we tackle the complexities of technology, ideally without losing our minds. I'm Steve Mancini, and if you've ever sat in a war room with, let's say, 15 people all pointing the finger and nobody solving the problem, well, you're in good company. Today, I want to share some valuable insights and discuss why Dynatrace just might be the secret sauce you've been missing. See, as a former IT director, I want to talk about something close to home, why traditional observability approaches are broken and how Dynatrace steps in to fix it. Because let's be brutally honest, most of us in IT we're not short on data. We're absolutely draining it. Every piece of hardware or software we buy seems to come bundled with yet another tool. And yet, when something inevitably breaks, the excuses haven't changed. It's not my application. It's not our code. Must be the network. Maybe it's the cloud provider. Can you reproduce it? Do these excuses sound familiar? Yeah, I've lived through them. And frankly, it's exhausting. The truth is, it's only becoming more complicated as we spread ourselves thin across multiple tools, countless SaaS applications, and a variety of cloud providers. This complexity makes rapid diagnosis and resolution harder than ever. So let's dive into how Dynatrace helps you cut through the noise so you can stop the finger pointing and start solving problems. Now, let me bring you into the data center for a minute. In my conversations with IT professionals and having spent years working with some of the largest data center companies on the planet, there's a reoccurring theme. Everybody is chasing the mythical single pane of glass. The issue is, to even approach that kind of unified view, vendors usually want you completely locked into their stack. But realistically, vendor lock-in isn't feasible anymore. Let's face it. You need flexibility. You likely have applications both on-prem and in the cloud, and decisions driven by security, latency, or regulatory needs. You're probably leveraging SaaS applications because, let's be honest, they're efficient and they solve critical business needs quickly. And if you're developing software, you're undoubtedly embracing containers and microservices for agility and scalability. All of these components demand visibility, not just surface level metrics, but deep, actionable insights. The ability to understand precisely what's happening at the code level can genuinely transform your operations. See, long gone are the days where managing your environment with 7 or 8 siloed tools was acceptable. In fact, I'm going to say something that might be controversial. If you're still juggling multiple disconnected tools to manage your complex environments, you're not doing right by your teams or your business. Any great leader aims to make their teams better and delivering on a clear vision for the business. And if you're not empowering your team with the right tools to gain clear, comprehensive insights into the intricate digital landscape we all operate within today, you're missing the mark. And sadly, that's the norm I often see. Teams remain siloed. Tools don't communicate effectively. And when something breaks, panic sets in. Everyone starts to scramble. Leadership pressures mount. Quick answers remain elusive. And remediation is painfully slow. See, Dynatrace fundamentally changes this narrative. Imagine this scenario. Something breaks, and instead of the typical finger pointing chaos, Dynatrace immediately tells you, here's exactly what broke, here's why, and here's who owns it. That's clarity, that's accountability, and that's transformation. Now, let me paint this picture of how this all works. When you deploy Dynatrace as one agent, it's not some half-baked plugin that gives you logs or CPU stats. This thing instruments everything: code, infrastructure, user behavior, security, all of it. It's like installing a CT scanner across your entire stack. But here's the best part. You only pay for the things that you use. As your needs evolve, turning on new functionality is as simple as flipping a switch. And honestly, I was initially skeptical about this model, but then I realized it democratizes the platform. Whether you're a Fortune 100 enterprise or a small K-12 school district, you can precisely target mission critical applications like student information systems or learning management platforms without overspending by having to do everything. Once one agent is installed, that's when the real magic begins. Smartscape starts building a real-time dependency map. Now, this isn't just a list of what's connected to what. It's a detailed understanding of the service interactions, dependencies, and the ripple effects of changes within your environment. Now you layer in security, and one agent doesn't just monitor, it protects. Dynatrace delivers runtime vulnerability detection and protection in real time, and it prioritizes based on actual business impact. And that's huge. See, this isn't a separate security tool with a whole new dashboard and another set of alerts. It's the same agent, the same interface, and the same platform. See, that's observability and security unified. It's frictionless and it's smart. And see, it's all running on Davis AI. See, Davis AI is the brains of the operation. Forget simplistic alerts like, hey, my CPU's overutilized at 90%. Davis employs causal AI. See, it pinpoints exactly what triggered an issue and its root cause. And instead of drowning in hundreds of vague alerts or emails, you get one clear notification. Something like, a bad deployment caused database latency, which is now impacting checkout load times for over 27% of users. Now that's how you move from confusion to clarity. So far, we've talked about the teams keeping the lights on, the infrastructure folks. Now let's shift to the developers. To be honest, this perspective was new to me since I never directly managed app teams. But there's a reason nearly every Fortune 100 company relies on Dynatrace. The applications that serve customers and support business operations simply cannot fail. Downtime isn't just an inconvenience, it costs money. Dynatrace's vision is straightforward yet powerful, ensuring software works perfectly every time. So, imagine you've shipped your code and you're super proud of it. But soon after deployment, user complaints start rolling in. Typically, you're left fumbling in the dark, relying on basic APM tools that give you limited visibility, maybe a flame graph if you're lucky. Dynatrace changes the game. With PurePath, you gain end-to-end visibility into every transaction. You can drill down into SQL calls, method-level timings, exceptions, and even third-party interactions. Straight through to the end-user experience, whether that's internal staff or customers ordering dinner on, like, let's say, a DoorDash app. Dynatrace's real-world customer stories highlight this power vividly. Development teams who previously spent days trying to reproduce elusive bugs now immediately see errors live, in production with specific build versions, user sessions, and exception details clearly identified. See, this isn't just about fixing bugs faster, it's about proactively preventing issues, protecting your development velocity, and ultimately safeguarding your company's revenue and your customer relationships. Now, before we wrap, I want to talk about something that's heating up fast: log data. It's easy to overlook. Logs seem like table stakes, right? Every app spits them out, every monitoring tool collects them. But the truth is, logs are one of the most valuable data sources you have if you can actually make sense of them. And that's where Grail comes in. Dynatrace's Grail isn't your typical log storage solution. It's a schemaless, indexless, real-time data lakehouse built for observability and AI automation. You don't need to worry about predefining indexes or structuring your data just right. You just have to stream it in. And Grail makes it instantly searchable and usable in context. That means your logs aren't sitting in some black box anymore. They're right there, and they're powering Davis AI, correlating with metrics, traces, user sessions, the whole picture we just talked about. So, now let's talk about the elephant in the room, Splunk. See, Splunk has been the go-to name for logs for years, but let's call it like it is. It's so expensive, and it's stalled at innovation. Customers are losing confidence, and Cisco's acquisition has only raised more questions than answers, as it seems Cisco just wanted it to enhance their security platform. I talk to organizations all the time who are spending hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars just to store logs. But they can't tie those logs to the rest of their environment. They've got alerts. They got alerts coming out of their ears, but they got no answers. And here's the kicker. With Dynatrace plus Grail, not only do you slash those log costs, you get real observability. You get root cause analysis, and you get AI-powered automation all in one platform. There's a real possibility that if you pay for Splunk, you can get almost all of its functionality, plus so much more, as I just explained, and at a cost much lower than you're paying now. This is why we're seeing massive momentum. We're talking seven-figure log deals. Customers are consolidating Splunk and choosing Dynatrace to simplify, modernize, and to get ahead. Now, let's be real. If you're still paying premium prices for disconnected logs and you're trying to duct tape them into other tools, you're leaving money and insight on the table. There's a better way. Now, let's get specific, looking at how some of Dynatrace's customers saw real value. BNZ Bank, they weren't just migrating workloads. They were moving their core banking system to the cloud while it was still running. Can you even imagine the complexity of that and the potential risk involved? The CIO called it open heart surgery during a sprint. They used Dynatrace to monitor everything in real time, from backend services to customer login latency. And when something drifted even slightly, Davis flagged it before users even noticed. So that's not just visibility, that's risk mitigation at scale. And I can almost see the smile on the CIO's face when this project was complete. But let's be honest, success isn't an accident. It comes with careful planning and work. In the next scenario, Air France-KLM had a different challenge. Tons of legacy systems, hybrid cloud, they had tight SLAs. And tell me, why does the airline industry seem to have the oldest, most outdated systems? It's like once they figured out where they were and got things off the ground, yeah, literally, they didn't touch anything. They were like, yeah, don't touch that. Well, Air France decided it was time. They needed to do some more, but they didn't just need alerts. See, they needed prediction. See, with Dynatrace, they saw how a memory leak in one service would ripple downstream into a check-in failure at kiosks in both Paris and Amsterdam. They fixed it before any headline could hit the news. That's operational foresight, not hindsight. And I don't blame them one bit, because once these types of situations hit mainstream media, it puts real doubts into potential customers' decisions. And that's not something any business needs, especially in the airlines. Next up, we have TELUS. They're a massive telecom with sky-high customer expectations. They didn't just use Dynatrace for uptime. They used it to optimize their user journeys. Think about that. Instead of is the app up? They asked, is the app working for the user? Is it fast? Is it easy? They tuned performance, they fixed bottlenecks, and they saw measurable increases in customer satisfaction. That's business value tied directly to the code and the infrastructure. There are some fantastic tools built into the platform that we talked about. I mean, PurePath's ability to trace the user experience and even replay it back so that the developers can see how the customer interacted with the application is amazing. And as developers are writing code, they're able to get real-time snapshots with Live Debugger, instantly capturing full stack data debugging from any line of code directly from both the IDE or a web-based interface. And finally, the state of Michigan. Well, they're dealing with the perfect storm. And this one hits close to home because, I work with state agencies. They had over 20 agencies and they supported over 1,700 applications, a hybrid multi-cloud environment, and a support model that relied on 30 people scrambling around troubleshooting every incident. When something went wrong, it could take weeks to pinpoint the cause. No exaggeration. One issue in particular dragged on for 3 weeks before Dynatrace came in. And with 5 minutes of deploying one agent, Davis AI found the root cause. And that's not just fast. That's total transformation of how they do their business. But it didn't stop there. They implemented synthetic monitoring across critical services like hunting and fishing licenses and some apps that were used by the Secretary of State. This was allowing them to catch issues before users even noticed. And because everyone from the app owners to the vendors were seeing the same data, finger pointing discipline. The result, higher morale, reduced turnover, and a projected $4.4 million savings over 5 years. That's what happens when observability shifts from reactive firefighting to proactive leadership. Look, AI, cloud, microservices, Kubernetes, it's all moving fast. And the pressure on IT hasn't gone away. It's only gotten worse. But here's the kicker. You can't automate what you don't understand. You can't optimize what you can't see. And you sure as hell can't innovate if you're stuck in another war room arguing about whose fault it is. Dynatrace isn't about adding another tool. It's about replacing 6 or 7 of them and giving you one source of truth. It's about giving developers the context they need, giving the ops team the automation they crave, and giving leadership the confidence that the digital experience is under control. So if you're tired of flying blind, tired of the finger pointing, tired of managing 12 tools that only do half the job, this is your moment. See, Dynatrace turns chaos into clarity. And I say that not just as the sales guy that I am today, but as someone who's been there on the other side, who knows what it feels like to have your neck on the line and not having answers. Let's change that. If you want to learn more, hit me up. I'll show you what clarity looks like. And until then, thanks for listening to Thriving in Ambiguity. And if this hits home, share it with someone that may be still stuck in the fog. Till next time.